question for South Africans. What exactly are we fighting for today? Not so long ago, one of the biggest political conversations in this country was land reform, land expropriation without compensation, economic justice, ownership. Those were the kind of conversations we as Black South Africans were having. We were asking how Black South Africans could reclaim wealth and opportunity after centuries of colonization and apartheid. But somewhere along the way, the conversation seems to have shifted. Today, we are celebrating delivery jobs. We are celebrating street vending jobs. We are celebrating low-paying work with little job security as though this is the economic breakthrough we have been waiting for. Help me understand, family. Have our political ambitions changed? Are we no longer demanding land reform? Are we no longer demanding meaningful economic transformation? Are we no longer asking who owns South Africa's wealth? Because if our biggest victory is replacing one low-wage worker with another low-wage worker, then surely we are asking the wrong questions. Maybe she was planted to distract us from the real conversations. If Black South Africans refuse to believe that the Israeli forces are behind the recent disruptions in our country, given the fact that they viciously want to fragment South Africa into tribal identity and divide and conquer us, if you refuse to believe that South Africa has had a target on its back the minute they took them to the ICJ, the minute South Africa refused to leave BRICS and sever ties with China, Russia, and Iran. The minute South Africa refused to pick sides during this Russia and Ukraine war, we became a target. And if you refuse to believe that whatever is happening in South Africa today is related to all the issues that I have mentioned, and even probably more than what we anticipated, you are dumber than I thought. I'm not saying our domestic issues aren't of national importance. I'm saying our domestic issues are weaponized against us. And none of these protests are Jacinta's ideas. Her organization is not organic. If Black South Africans refuse to believe the Israeli forces are behind this, maybe you might believe that the Boers are fighting against the land without compensation bill. Maybe that is simple enough for you to grasp. They are pushing back against reparations. Y'all have been brainwashed to believe that the Africans are the reason you are wallowing in poverty, but you've been living in poverty long before migration was even a thing for the Africans. And by the look of things, you love poverty so much that you fight for it, that you are willing to go to war for it. This isn't about looking down on honest work, guys. I don't look down on work. There is dignity in every form of labor, despite how it looks. The question is whether 30 years into democracy, that is all we should aspire to. Shouldn't we be talking about ownership, industrialization, building Black businesses, creating wealth that can be passed on to future generations? Shouldn't that be the conversation for Black people? Recently, political analyst and author Kim Heller posed a similar question, asking whether South Africans have abandoned the bigger struggle for economic justice. And I have to admit, it's a question worth thinking about. Because imagine explaining to the world that the descendants of people who were dispossessed of their land are now celebrating precarious jobs instead of continuing the conversation about long-term economic empowerment. That should make all of us stop and reflect. And the comments under Kim Heller's post made me realize that Black South Africans in particular have no future. They don't have generational presence, and to erase them will be so much easier. All the comments allude to the fact that South Africans are too hungry to fight for land. We will fight for land after we have eaten. Oh, we don't want to. People must get employed first. People must, get jobs first before we can fight for the bigger piece. 32 years into democracy and you're still fighting for the little things. You're still okay with the minority, the white minority of this country, having 90% of the country's wealth in their hands. You're still okay living in poverty. You still speak about filling your stomach. You're still talking about feeding your addictions. You are still hungry. Let the people eat first. Let people get jobs and feed themselves. We will talk about land later. We will talk about long-term goals later. We will talk about economic justice later. Is this the kind of thinking of a black South African, of an ordinary black South African? Then you are in for it. You are in trouble because they will feed you until you are full. You are too full to move, or you are too full to be productive. They are the ones that are controlled. The minority of this country, the white minority of this country, backed by the United States and the Israeli forces, they are the ones that control food production. They are the ones that decide how your stomach should be filled, how much you should eat. They control your table. They control your wealth. They control your bank accounts. They control where you should work. They control the employment rate. They control the social issues affecting us today. They are the ones controlling everything, and you're saying that you're waiting for them to feed your addictions before you can move to be productive and fight for land and fight for economic justice. And by the way, since you are chowing, please remember that economic justice is the foundation for a prosperous future for black South Africans. So you guys just want temporary solutions. You want temporary solutions. Temporary solution for what? And then what? And then what? So that the temporary solutions can fuel you with the energy to fight for permanent solutions. No. I can tell you now, even a drug addict, when they go to rehab, they take one last sniff of cocaine before they go in. They take one last sniff before they go in. And when they come out, there's no guarantee that they are cured of their addictions. An addiction never goes away, just in case no one has told you. It's like sin. It keeps plaguing and plaguing and plaguing, finding new strategies to keep you living in sin, in darkness. And in the context of black South Africans, the Boers will find new ways, new strategies to keep you in poverty while they feed your addictions. And you think you're smart. You think you're smart. Look at the African migrants, both legal or illegal. Whenever they came to South Africa, they came with nothing but the clothes on their back. And they came here with no guarantees that they'll get social services from the government. But they made something out of themselves. They created shops, the very same shops that you want to own. So you want to take their foundation, because they've laid the foundation for the wealth. You just want to come in, swoop in, and become owners of what they've built and created. You're mad. You're mad. These plaza shops that you want to run, that you say should be in the hands of South Africans, you just want. Why didn't you run it way before the Pakistanis and Zimbabweans or whatever came to South Africa and started opening these plaza shop chains, these bodega chains? Why didn't you build it before they came here? This is pure jealousy. I'm sorry. I think you kicked them out because you're jealous that they built something without being dependent on the government. I am sorry. You guys are not ready for global conversations. You guys are not ready to join the diaspora that are seeking reparations throughout the world. You guys are just not ready to build. You guys are like sandbags. You are dead weight to the development and the prosperity of the diaspora. And quite frankly, I think the diaspora should cut South Africans off. They should cut them off. Let black people out there prosper without black South Africans. And whatever they run into, whatever problems they run into going forward in the future, they must not seek for help from outside people. They must sever all ties, and they must be the island that they crave to be. 32 years into democracy, you want to settle to become a delivery driver. You want to settle for becoming a waitress, a truck driver. You want to settle for the bare minimum while people, the 20% minority, have 90% of our country's wealth in their hands. They control what we eat. You want to be in the structure. You don't want to be the structure. Yo, you lousy. You lousy. I see why the narrative out there says we are lazy. It makes sense. What do you think about the segment? Comment to us in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and share the broadcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss this groundbreaking conversations right here on the African Diaspora News channel.